In this video, we're going to take a look at interview eyelines. We're going to talk about when and why you would choose to use different eyelines and how you can set them up. First up, let's take a look at the off-camera eyeline, or cross-axis as it's sometimes known. This is where you'll see the subject looking slightly to one side of camera or off frame. This technique is something I'm sure you've seen used many times before in various documentaries, corporate and commercial videos. You may not have ever thought about why they film them that way though. Granted, I'm sure there are some people out there that choose to shoot that way because they've seen other people do it and it's been successful, but more often than not, there is some reason behind it. Having your subject look off camera can be useful in a number of ways. I tend to prefer using the off-camera interview eyeline, as a lot of the subjects I film are unfamiliar with being on camera. Having the interviewee looking off camera, talking directly to the interviewer, makes them feel much more relaxed and comfortable. When it's treated as more of a discussion, rather than some sort of interrogation, it helps them to open up, and you'll often find you get much better responses, and they'll start to forget the camera is even there. This method is also useful when you want the interviewee to come across as someone who has expertise on something. By having them look off camera, it creates an emotional detachment from them, the audience, and the subject matter. This can subconsciously imply to the audience that this person knows what they're talking about. Now, this isn't always the case, and as with anything art related, this is subjective. There is no right or wrong way to do something, but it is worth considering the effect your decisions have on an audience, whether that be subconsciously or consciously. Another point to consider is the background your subject is in, and whether or not that is important to the story and message you're trying to get across to the audience. If it is, having your subject looking off camera with a deep depth of field is often the better choice in that situation. If you had them looking directly at the camera, the audience would be more focused on them and perhaps not even notice the environment they're in. That brings us to the next point, looking directly into the lens. This is something we are all familiar with now, the person on camera looking and talking directly to the lens. It is also still a strong method to use when it comes to certain interviews. So why would you have your interviewee look into the lens? This is not something you'd want to use for every interview, but when used correctly, it can have a really positive impact on your story. Having your subject look directly into the lens helps the audience to believe they are talking directly to them. This is useful when you want there to be an emotional connection, perhaps when the subject is talking about a personal situation or event. This is the opposite of the disconnect that happens when you have your subject looking off camera. There are no perceived barriers when you have that eye connection. It is sometimes a tough decision to make, because often when someone is talking about a deeply personal matter, they may not feel comfortable looking and talking directly to the camera, so you have to use your best judgment in these types of situations. Another option you may want to consider is not having any sort of eyeline at all. This method has become more and more popular in recent years, and it is often implemented when you are following a subject about on their day-to-day life. Some examples of this would include filming a subject while they're driving from the passenger seat or the back seat, filming them while they work or go about their day-to-day life, or just following them while they're walking. This is a good method to use when you want the audience to feel a bit more involved in the story, and even though the subject may not be looking directly down the lens, it often adds a bit more of a personal touch than a locked off interview. As I mentioned before, there is no right or wrong way to do any of this. There is no one size fits all method. You'll need to decide on the right tool for the right job, and there's no reason to settle on just one. Often you'll see documentaries use a variety of setups for different situations. It's always about the best way to get the message across. Let me know in the comments what your favourite way to set up an interview is. I hope you found this video useful. If you'd like to see more on low budget cinematography and filmmaking tips in general, you can subscribe here or carry on watching one of these videos. I look forward to seeing you next time. Take care.